Welcome to The Joyous Edge, where we talk to top executives and performers about their journey, what they do when they're at their edge and breaking point, and what brings them joy in the everyday hustle.
This is the Joyous Edge. It's time to shine.
Elyse, I really want to thank you for joining us for today's episode of The Joyous Edge. And I just loved hearing your story of going from spa owner to spa coach for large, successful spas. Can you tell us a little bit about your catalyst and your journey from moving from spa owner to spa coach? And I know you still own your spa, but I'd love to hear what brought you on that journey and why.
Yeah. First, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Of course.
I had my spa and still have it for 12 years and counting now.
Wow.
And I started as a solo esthetician and went to a team of over 20. We have like 25 people right now. But along the way, I experienced a lot of burnout, a lot of mistakes. And then I realized I also had some talents that maybe other spa owners didn't have, where I'm really good at finances. I understand people. I understand teams. And I realized that there was a big gap in the market. And so many spa owners were struggling to be able to run their business and not get burnt out. And I was like, it's time to help. It's time to help people and coach people and consult with them. And I want everybody to be able to have the freedom within their business and have a successful, happy business as well.
I love that. And part of the reason I wanted you was because, one, I love spas, and that is definitely part of my joy time. That's part of my joy time. I build that into my finances to say, okay, you need to be able to have X number of spa treatments and massages. We were just talking about this on another episode, and when we were talking about finances, and I'm like, I know that I need at least a massage a month or a massage a week, depending on where I am at the point in my life. You know?
No, it's so good for your mental health and your physical well-being.
It is.
And it brings you joy.
Great. It brings you joy. It brings me joy, definitely. Yeah. And the other thing is that I thought was great was, even though you're an entrepreneur and you haven't been in corporate, you know what it's like to run a very successful business. I mean, your spa is, 7-figure spa, and that's amazing. And now you're coaching, 7-figure spa owners and helping them on their journey. So struggling with the burnout and all the issues that come with that, it's, I know a lot of it for me was saying yes to too much stuff and not being willing to, it's not necessarily willing, because it's not like you don't trust your team, but it's knowing, like, being aware of what they're capable of, and then knowing what you can and can't outsource. So how did you make that change in your life to go from that burnout to, okay, I got this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. First, it's like a big mental shift. People don't really think about how much leadership is mental. You have to have the right mindset to be able to get there. And when you're in the burnout, when you're in that overwhelm, it is so hard to get to that point. So I would say that's the first step, is just to like really make sure that you're in that right mental spot. But after dealing with so much burnout and so much overwhelm, I really just kind of had to shift my mindset, and I had to go that direction. And then trust that I had everything in place. I mean, the structure, the procedures, the policies to get the right manager in, to get the right providers in and staff in, and hand it over and say, okay, you guys got it. You can do it without me. And for a while, that was really hard. And then more and more, I started trusting myself more and my process more and kind of fine tuning it. And with that, I was able to step away from the burnout and into more of that like freedom and joy lifestyle.
I love that. I love it. And I think one of the things that you touch on really is building that succession plan. And one of the things that I always was a firm believer in is I want to train myself out of a job, right? And so it sucks when you have to train somebody and keep training and you keep getting, a lot of turnover. So part of that is keeping your employees happy and, and making sure that they want to be a part of the team and they buy into the brand. How are some ways that you've been able to do that with your team?
So this is one of my favorite questions because I love uplifting my team. When people start, they have this form they have to fill out. That's like what's their Enneagram, their Myers-Briggs, their favorite color, anything that I can do to get to know them and understand them and kind of customize the work experience for them, because people are not a one size fit all type thing.
Right.
Everybody has different things that they like or that they want or ways to praise. You know, one girl loves public praise. Another girl would love a cup of coffee and a quick thank you and no public praise at all.
Yeah.
And even just those little shifts of learning kind of what each employee wants and what's best for them really does make a big difference in keeping people long term.
That is so key because I think, you know, I know the book, The 5 Love Languages. They have one for the 5 languages of recognition in the workplace or something. And it's the same type of thing. I learned about that when we did the Strengths Finders book. Like I had significance at the time. Significance was up there in me, not necessarily because I wanted the recognition, but because I felt like I needed to give it to everybody publicly. And that was like a leadership shift when I realized, oh, wait, people on my team might not want public praise.
Yeah.
Like
you never know.
They just want it behind closed doors. Like I had some really introverted team members on my team and they're like, you know, please don't do that. Like, don't
exactly.
like I appreciate
and you think you're doing the right thing.
Right. You're like, but I'm recognizing you. I want you to be like, I want to praise you and all of that. But some people view it as like they're going to get treated differently from their peers. And, you know, there's so many things that you just can't even begin to imagine as to why they feel the way they do and what they do there.
Yeah. And being a leader, I feel like, is being a chameleon.
Yes.
Like you really have to shape every experience to everybody that works under you.
Right.
You know, granted, we all have policies and systems and procedures and ways to do things.
Right.
But at the end of the day, people want to be talked to differently or recognized in different ways. So I feel like that's like one of the keys of being a really good leader is understanding that.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent point. What I want to ask is, what are some of the things that you did to move from like you're that individual business owner of like a sole provider, sole service provider to having employees and now having over 20 employees? You know, what was the shift like for you during that?
It was a lot. It was a lot. It went from kind of doing my own thing, then being really excited and hiring people, then getting extremely overwhelmed and extremely burnt out, back to getting excited for the business again. I mean, when we're talking about roller coaster, it legitimately has been a roller coaster of emotions for the last decade. But through all of that, I really learned that if you have to put the structure in place, like when the structure is in place and it's like, what would I do? What would Elyse do?
Right.
You can really figure out how you want your spa or your business run without you.
Right.
And that's what was the hardest part of being like, okay, I did that wrong. I made this mistake.
Right.
Let me write this down the right way to do it so I don't make the mistake again. And I mean, we're talking about a decade of making mistakes, fixing them and putting them all in one nice packaged book.
Yeah. That is so true because like I think about like even when I was in consulting, we'd go from project to project and like if you were lucky, you'd get the additional buy-on work, you know, the extensions and all of that. But like if you didn't get that, it's like you're ramping up, ramping down, your teams are changing. And it was so straining because that first 60 to 90 days of forming a team is like, that's a lot, you know?
And it's different personalities coming in and different people with just different needs and wants and expectations. And it's so important as a leader that you really understand what that is and pour into that.
Yeah.
Because employees need to be poured into as much as they need to pour into you too.
Right.
You know?
I think that's such a great point because like, if you think about it with the employees, you know, you need to be able to trust them to deliver consistent with your brand, your vision, and your mission. But if you're not clear and you know,
they need to know it. They need to know it like the back of their hand. You know?
Right. And if you don't know that stuff, if they don't know that stuff, and you live inconsistently with those values, it's sending them mixed messages.
Completely. When we hire people, we really go through a checklist of do they meet all of our core values? Do they meet the culture we're looking for? You can be an extremely talented massage therapist, but if you don't fit the way that we view our culture, then it's not going to be a good fit.
Right.
You know, or maybe you're so great at the culture and you maybe just don't have the touch.
Right.
You know, that's also not for us.
Right.
And it's really tricky to kind of interview and find that line and figure out who's right. But it's so important to have the right culture and the right team, because that is what makes or breaks the business. And that's what allows me to step away and have that freedom.
Yeah.
I'm still in the business. I
Right.
still meet with the manager, but I know that it's in good hands because everything is documented and they're just following what I would do if I was there anyways.
Right. Right. That's such a great point. One of the things that I think about too is, you know, how do you keep that accountability with the team and like training them up? How was that?
It's one of those things that are hard until you master it, but it's
Right.
also really exciting.
Yeah.
I love getting to know a new staff member because you really get to understand somebody and their life, and you have that moment to click and bond with them. But at the end of the day, it's making sure that everything literally is right there for them and good to
Right.
go.
Right.
And sometimes people will, I don't know, work for 2 months and they realize it's not the right fit, or
Right.
vice versa. And that's okay. And then you try to find somebody else that's the right fit. But it's tricky. It's hard.
It is. And I think back to like when I was a managing director and I'd bring new associates on, or even managers, I mean, any employee I'd bring onto my team, I would ask them, I'm like, so what is it that you're focused on? What's the skill that you want to improve? And they're like, I hadn't thought about that because, you know, I didn't think anybody cared. Like, I just thought I'm here to do a task, you know?
Exactly.
And so anytime we'd start a project, we'd have our core team values and like, what is our like flex schedule? Do we have that? Because I try to be very laissez-faire and just kind of like go with the flow as a leader, but you also need to keep the team accountable
Yep.
and keep things moving and keep the client happy, you know?
Completely. You need to still have that structure,
Right.
but also lead with empathy.
Right. Right. If you're a senior leader who keeps saying yes because it feels easier than slowing down to prioritize, you're not alone. I work with leaders who are operating at a high level but paying for it with burnout, overwhelm, and self-abandonment. When you get clear on what actually matters, everything elevates. Your impact, your focus, your legacy, and your peace of mind. If you're ready for that kind of clarity, I'd love to talk. Book a free call with me at freejoycall.com. Can you share a moment where you may have struggled with that? Because I'm sure when you're dealing with burnout, like empathy sometimes goes out the window and you're just like, I can't right now.
I mean, some of my hardest moments have been when I'm going through a lot of my personal life, and then I wake up and I would look at my phone and I would have 2 massage therapists call out sick, and then a client upset because they needed a massage on their wedding day, or it was grandma's first massage and she was looking forward to it. And when you're already going through burnout and then all of a sudden it kind of starts building and building and building, it is so difficult to deal with. The way I made it through was, well, lots of tears for a little bit.
Of course.
I mean, I'm going to be
Tears
completely honest.
Tears work. You know, tears is an emotional release.
Yeah.
It's an energy release to get it out of your system and then be like, okay, I got this.
And then you got to move on.
Right,
You got to put the big girl pants on and move on.
Move on. Yeah.
And I'm big into meditation and mindset and really just getting clear on kind of what I want for my future and for my life.
Right.
So whenever I get overwhelmed and burnt out, I try to take a step back and I think, why am I doing this? And do I want to keep doing this?
Yeah.
And when I really take that moment to go inward, I do want to keep doing it because I love people. And I just want people to have a good place to work. I want clients to have a good place to come. I want just the general, everybody around me just to be doing good. And I know that with my business, I'm able to provide that.
That is awesome. And so thinking through that, like what are some of the wins that you've seen with your coaching program and like moving? What was that pivotal shift of like, okay, I got my stuff up and running.
Yeah.
I'm good. The salon's moving. I got a great manager. They're doing great there. What was that shift to move you from that to coaching?
Well, once I realized that I did it, that I got to the point that I didn't think was possible, I'm like, I want everybody to be here. So somebody that I'm coaching right now is incredible. And he actually just hired his first like manager. He's not ready to have a full manager, but it's
Part-time
his
type
right hand pretty much.
Right.
And he just texted me today and was like, this is such a game changer. Why didn't I do this years earlier?
Aww.
And now he's able to go have time with his family and relax. I have another friend just hired an actual manager. She's become a friend because I've been working with her for like 4 years.
I love it.
And I adore her. But she just hired her first manager. We ended up getting her entire protocols and policies together. And now she's able to spend time away. And I think that a lot of people think they need to really be in the business. You don't have to be in the business if you have everything lined up.
That is
if you're
so
a
true.
business owner, you're still going to be a part of it. It's not like you're not a part of it. You just don't need to be in the day-to-day making sure that everybody came in and all clients are happy. You have somebody else taking that.
And I think that's a big shift that you see in like people get upset with executives or when corporations hire people that are like, oh, they never had financial services experience, or they never had tech experience, or they never had this experience. And it's like, yeah, they don't have that, but they do have the knowledge of how to be an amazing leader.
The skill of leadership is something that nobody should ever take for granted.
Oh, totally.
It is so much work to get there and to prep it. Some people automatically have it. They're made to be a leader.
Right.
Other people work really hard to get there.
Yeah.
And both are equally amazing.
Yeah.
And some people aren't cut out to be a leader, and that's okay too.
Right.
But leadership definitely takes a different part of your brain, of the way you think, the way you act, and the way that you have to kind of put people first while upholding standards and boundaries. And that can be difficult.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, it's, I think back to some of the times where I've had difficult conversations, and I know one of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier is like, I think you said that, it's hard loving a team that doesn't love you back.
Yes.
Can you share, I know I don't want to go into specifics and call anybody out, but like, can you share a little behind that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. One of my things I always say is nobody tells you that leadership can feel like loving people who don't always love you back in the same way.
I love that.
And throughout the years, I have had so many people that have not loved me back in the same way. I always say it's more heartbreaking than an actual breakup.
Right.
Because
I know.
a breakup, you can at least stalk them online, or you can talk to the friends, you know what they're doing. But I have some employees that have been there, and then all of a sudden I'm just blocked and I have no idea what they're doing with their life. I have no idea what's going on. Just because they decided to take a step back doesn't mean I stopped caring about them. I care about them forever.
That is one of the hardest things. I think anytime I've made a transition from a different company, from one bank to another, from banking to corporate or to consulting, and now consulting on my own, it's like you had this family. And like, especially if you do a sharp pivot, industry, role, whichever, even moving from leader to executive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's so hard because you're like, but we're friends, and
not the same dynamic.
It's not the same dynamic. And so like, I know when I made my transition, from consulting into coaching, I felt like my network wasn't there, and it wasn't that my network wasn't there, because I know people love me. I know I've got amazing connections, but it was hard because the people that I would call every day and joke around with and all of that, it's like, you don't have things to catch up on from a work perspective.
They're not in your inner circle anymore.
Right. And that was, I think, the most devastating thing, because like people that you thought like, oh, we'll always be friends through this and through that. And it's like, they didn't reach out.
I know. For me, it was COVID. With COVID, we had to shut down the spa for about 2 months, and I was terrified. And I was worrying about my staff every single day.
I can imagine.
And trying to sell retail products to try to get them money and anything I could do. And then we got the clear that we could reopen, and I got so excited, and I called everybody, and person by person was like, I'm not coming back. I am opening up my own place, or I'm moving out of town. And then that's fine.
Right.
But the problem is then I was blocked.
Right.
Or then I lost all communication with them.
Right.
And again, it didn't mean I stopped caring. I still care about them to this day. Now we're 6+ years
exactly.
from COVID. I mean, it's like wild.
So how did you deal with that? How did you cope?
Well, we're going to go back to the tears really quick.
The tears, So lots of tears, lots of tears.
And then just realizing that I can't tie my self-worth to my team's behavior.
Right.
That, I think, was a really big thing that took me a long time to realize, and a mental shift of their behavior has nothing to do with me. They could be going through their own things. They could be in their head. Tony Robbins says when you're in your head, you're dead. And I live by that saying.
When you're in your head, you're
When you're
dead.
in your head, you're
That's going to be a
dead.
new one of mine. I got to add that to my quote list.
It's so good and it's so true. So when you are spiraling about what happened, what could I have done different, what are they thinking, what do they think about me? It's like, wait, no, I'm in my head.
Right.
I don't want to be dead.
Right.
You know?
I don't want to be dead. I'm not in my
And
head.
then
Get out of your
they
head.
might be in their head about me, and they
Right.
might have no idea what I'm
Right.
like. And a leadership
Right.
a leader position doesn't always feel like a human.
Right.
You know, you can
Because
think,
you're held up on this pedestal.
yeah, and you think about your bosses in the past, and you don't realize that they're human with emotions and
Right.
feelings. And when you're in that leadership role, it can feel really heavy because
Right.
some people just look at you as a leader and not as a person. And it's really good to remember that your self-worth has nothing to do with the way that everybody else looks at you.
I know one thing that when I talk to some leaders, they're like, well, I just don't let them know anything about me. To me, I am like an open book with my team because I think you've got to lead by example. And there were so many times like when I was a leader in corporate and in consulting that I was like, I'm not doing this because of me. I'm not sticking up for myself or the situation because of me. I'm doing it because I want to lead by example for the team and let them know what a true leader does. And I think that is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. Especially being a woman in
Yes.
business.
Yes.
I can't stress enough how it's so hard to try to find your place in the world. And then when you find it, you just got to rock it.
I love
You
it.
know?
I love that. That is so true. And I think, thinking through that, it's like you've got to be your authentic self. Now, I'm not saying go into the boardroom in Bermuda shorts and a tank top with, piercings all over, whatever. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but most financial services companies, that's not cool.
But wear the pink blazer.
Wear the pink blazer.
Be yourself.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like, I look at it and we have one of our other friends is like, oh, the sea of navy blue. Oh my God, the sea. And I'm like, I love my navy blue suit. My navy blue suit was breaking my comfort zone from my black suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now you broke your comfort zone
Now I broke
again.
it again and I got my pink suit.
And you're stepping more into your power.
Right.
Truly.
And it's nice. Now, granted, I try not to wear light colors because I spill everything. I'm such a klutz. I get it all over everything. But I do love being able to be the light. And, I try to lead by example, or not try, I do lead by example. I am the light for my team. And I think the key thing is whatever your mindset is with your team, your team is going to pick up on that. And no matter how much you think that like by shutting down or blocking it out, like they're going to absorb it and especially since they're insecure, not everybody's insecure, but a lot of people are insecure and looking for approval from leaders. And, one of the things that people will struggle with is, oh my gosh, my leader snapped at me because, and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have brought that to them, or I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, don't shit on yourself. It's what everybody says. And I love that saying. It's like, don't shit on yourself. But, being able to be self-aware and know, like I always say one of my hacks is, and I don't know if this is good, bad, or indifferent, but this is my hack. My mom was a therapist growing up. And so, or not growing up, she was an entrepreneur, actually owned a chain of book and music outlets, but then her calling was to give back. And so she went back, got her master's in social work, did hospice care, became a therapist, all of that. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that I always joke that I'd get diagnosed by everything because as she's going through and learning a diagnosis, it's like, hey, it's almost like with medicine, right? It's like, do you have stomach ache? Do you have this? Do you have a headache? Well, then these are side effects from this medicine. No. So I'd always joke that I've had every diagnosis under the sun because so many of the symptoms are the same for everything, you know? But one thing that was a coping mechanism for me was I would like classify people as, oh, they've got OCD. Oh, they're autistic. They've got this, they've got that. And not saying that that's anything to joke about, but it helped me get empathy for the
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when I used to get angry, because, anger, tears, crying, they're all related. They're all forms of emotion, just trying to let that energy out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was this one time at a bank that I was at where I was overseeing a pretty big project transformation at the bank. And I had someone I'm trying to not put them in a certain place, but they were in the broker dealer world, and they were just really mean girl bullying me. It was a guy, but they were truly just trying to tear me down in meetings. I'd leave the meetings in tears, just so frustrated, and like, why are they so mean? And like, he'd get along with a number of other peers,
Yeah.
And I found out later that his wife was going through like stage 3 cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was my aha moment of like, okay, he's not, this isn't me that he's getting mad at. He's dealing with a lot of stuff.
And he might have not even been aware of how bad it was.
Right.
He might have been a little aware.
He probably was aware,
but
not, and that could just be the way that he was. But
Yeah.
the truth is I love the saying, hurt people.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, you think about that. I've always thought about that in relationships. And I'd be like, oh, well, this guy's not a good match because, I can tell he's got a lot of work to get. He needs a therapist, you know? And because my mom came from the therapy social work background, any guy I date is like, I'm like, okay, you need therapy. Like, you need to do that. Not now, but
Everybody needs therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody needs therapy. So I'm definitely a strong therapy pusher, but I like life coaching and coaching for different skills. Because if you think about the top athletes, they a lot of the stuff that we deal with, like, it's a mindset shift.
Completely.
And so it's getting yourself out of that spin in your head and doing that shift,
Well, everything is energy,
Right.
and you don't realize. I'll never forget. It was a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much anxiety. I had a lot of stuff going on outside of work. I was trying to make changes to my business. My internal anxiety was crazy.
Okay.
I went into work and I thought I was doing a really good job at suppressing it.
Right.
And I thought I was walking around. I was fine. Hey, how are you? How are you? And then one of my massage therapists came into my office and he goes, hey, Lisa, are you okay?
Right.
And I go, yeah, I'm fine. What? And he goes, your energy has just been so hectic and chaotic.
Right.
And I thought this whole time I was leading calm and just suppressing it. And I wasn't.
Right.
And I genuinely thought I was doing a good job, but you can still feel it.
Yeah,
And
totally. That energy is for real because
that was a big shift for me. I was like, okay, I need to actually get this under control because now my whole team feels this. And if I'm not centered, I can't lead a centered team.
That is such a great point because I think back to, especially like when I was in New York, I mean, you're like, go, 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 go. And for me, I never felt that. Like, I'm like, yeah, okay, go, good. I'm great. And even when I was in my peak, you know, I'm like, I'm good. I've got this, I've got that. And then I'd still get feedback of, oh, she's a chaotic leader. She's this, she's that. I'm like, I'm doing my damnedest to get, and it wasn't everybody, but you'd get some of that feedback and you're like, I'm like, I'm giving instructions I'm focused on, okay, let me get the SOPs right so they know how to do it. But that's so transactional.
Yeah.
And what I realized, it wasn't in that transaction of the email or like, here's the SOPs. It was in that energy that your body's radiating.
Completely.
It's
Completely.
so crazy.
People don't realize that as
No,
much.
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And as a leader, you have so much on your plate that other people can't even always fathom.
Right.
Like a normal employee that's never kind of worked their way up the ladder doesn't understand how much it entails
Right.
and how much it can feel emotionally and physically heavy at times.
Right.
And to be able to walk that path and walk through it is such a good skill that takes leaders a long time to learn. I'm still working on it.
Oh, me too. I know. I absolutely love that because you don't really realize that until you become so self-aware that you're like, okay, well, I need to work on myself. I need to keep doing that, And one thing that it's a lesson that I always use and I absolutely love is my mom would always say, you've got one finger pointed at someone, but you got 4 pointed back at yourself.
So true.
And
so
so whatever it is that you're seeing in that person that is triggering, that's making you upset, that's hurting you, you got 4 pointed back at yourself. So what is it in yourself that you don't like? And don't judge a man. My grandfather would say, don't judge a man until you've walked a mile in his shoes. And so he'd always be like, you treat the CEO the same way you treat the janitor. Like you treat them with respect. You are nice to them. You ask them how their day is going. It doesn't matter who it is. You treat them with respect and let them be seen. And I think a lot of times executives have so much going on in their head that it comes across like they're not treating people the same. They're not thinking about that. And it's like, no, they are. It's just they're processing and managing 100 times, probably what the typical employee might be doing or whatever.
You have to be more mindful when you're in that role, which also means taking care of yourself and slowing down when you are able to. Like massages. Or vacations. Or anything.
Whatever it is that fills your cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I want to ask you, what is one thing that you want to take away from, or you want our viewers, our community to take away from today's episode?
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest thing would be empathy without boundaries burns out leaders, and boundaries without empathy burns out teams.
I love that.
And it's really important to remember to hold both.
Right.
There's a magic with being able to be kind and caring and also understanding the standards, because when you understand the standards, everything else feels a little bit safer for everybody working there. But if you're not a kind, passionate person, nobody's going to want to work for you.
That's so true. And it's funny because you see it like so many team members, like so many people are like, oh, I'm a great leader. I did this, I did that. And it's like, okay, like, is your team, are you still in touch with your team? Are you still reaching out? Like, that's the one thing that just warmed my heart was like when I made the shift, the employees that reached out to me after was like amazing.
Exactly.
And like it
you
would
built
bring
that.
tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd have, because as you move up the ladder, you get feedback from different people of, oh, you're a good leader here. You're not, they don't like this. They don't like that. And it's like every nit, every pick. And so you feel like I am the worst leader in the world.
Yeah. And that's why you don't tie your self-worth to your team's behavior.
So true. So true.
So true.
And it's like, but to your point, having those people still continue to reach out 3, 5, 10. I mean, I have people back from 10, 15 years ago reaching out and being like, hey, I think you're awesome. I saw that you made a pivot in your career. Like just reach out. Like so many of us don't slow down to do the actual reach out. And I try to at least do like a text or something like that. Like I was on this like Christmas card kick where I was doing Christmas cards every year. Oh,
Were you handwriting them?
I was handwriting in each one. So I would print them and then I was like, I can't do it. And I had like 150 people, I think, on my mailing list. And I was like, but then I was like, I don't know if it's mattering, but I'm like, no, it does. And the funny thing is it's actually a friend of mine that got me into it because she's a prior colleague, and I'm going to make sure she watches this episode. But she used to send Christmas cards every year. And I'm like, I don't do that. Like, I'm single. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. Nobody wants a Christmas card for me. She's like, I sent you a Christmas card. If you want my Christmas card, you better send one back. And so I was like, okay. So then I started sending them, and there were years that I missed one. So I'd send 2 for like the year before. And I'm like, sorry.
Just start writing them throughout the year. Right. So then you don't have to write 100 at the end of the year.
That's a great way to do it. During COVID, started doing like my card had like 12 pictures. So it was a picture from every month.
Oh,
and so it was like really neat to show my evolution and my journey over the years. And I'd have friends be like, "Oh, I made the highlight reel," and it was fun. But
really fun.
it was super cool. But I think the thing that would happen is I turned it into a New Year's card because I feel like so many people get Christmas cards or holiday cards or whatever it is, and I wanted to be mindful of whatever it is going on, but everybody's got a new year, everybody's, whether you celebrate it or not, it's like, Happy New Year, bring in a good new year,
Yeah,
and
completely.
so I'm like, okay, I send the holiday cards out, but or the New Year's cards out. I love it. And so I go back and forth because I love getting the ones that are like bulk mailed, but I still like the ones that get the personal handwritten
note. There's nothing like it.
Even though I have messy handwriting, I love it. And
all my employees get a handwritten birthday note.
Yeah, that's smart. I do I did that too. And like when we had, because when I was in consulting, all the promotions happened 10-1. And so they'd announce them in September and we go to 10-1 and so I would get anybody that was on our team, usually, I would get a gift. It was either everybody got a gift or nobody got a gift.
Exactly.
And because I couldn't leave people out. I'm like, whether I worked with them or not, they earned that promotion. And that's a huge accomplishment, you know? And
man,
so,
getting gifts for teams is incredible. One year I got all of my staff books specific for them.
yes.
And it was the most like memorable gift I've ever done.
Oh,
It took
I
me
love that.
hours.
Yes.
But it was hard.
It was hard,
You know,
but it
this
was
person
worth it.
travels, travel book, cookbook,
Right.
bodybuilding book.
Yes.
It's
yes.
all over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have one last question for you. And I think you know what it is. But what brings you joy?
America's Got Talent.
I love it. I love it. I know.
For real, though.
No,
For
but
real.
America's
What?
Got Talent does bring me joy. And we got to give the voice a pitch too
And the
there.
voice.
Because
And the
the voice
voice.
is amazing. So,
Yeah. No, I think it's seeing people succeed.
Yeah.
And watching people's dreams come true without I'm
Yeah.
getting chills right
Yes,
now.
I know, me
Watching
too.
people's dreams come true is one of the most beautiful things. I feel like that's why I love being an employer because I can watch people's dreams come true.
I agree.
can watch people all of a sudden buy the house or make more money than their husband when they never thought they could do that.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it in like the TV sense,
Yeah.
you're seeing people on stage that are living out their dreams.
Yeah.
Like how freaking cool is that?
Yeah.
I cry happy tears.
right.
Happy tears
I love
for
it.
those.
But happy tears is still an energy release,
Yes.
you know?
But it's so seeing people succeed brings me joy.
I love that. And
Yeah.
when you mentioned that, I think one of the books that I read that a manager had told me to read when I first got promoted to manager, like way back in my 20s, was called The Dream Manager.
Oh, I love that.
Have you read it?
No, I
oh my
haven't.
God.
Now I'm gonna go
You
home
have
and
to.
get it.
So I listened to the book on tape and then I bought the actual book and read it again. And it's all about a leader, and actually I think it's an entrepreneur's journey of helping their team
Oh my gosh.
and reach their dreams and work
I'm gonna
towards
read
getting
that.
their dreams. Oh my God. And I
The
got chills again on that.
The E-Myth was one that I read
E-Myth,
10
okay.
years in that I wish I read in the beginning.
Okay. I'm going to have
Yeah.
to read that one now.
Yes.
We got that on our list.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
you.
today and sharing your joy and being a part of our community. I just really want to thank you, and I'm so grateful to have you on.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here.
Thanks. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you liked today's episode, please subscribe. All the information can be found in the show notes. And until next time, keep your joyous edge. See you next week.